It's nighttime as I'm recording this, and my sub has already gone to bed, and I don't want to wake him up. And so this is going to be more of a soft-spoken video today, and I don't intend it to be too long. It's kind of late. I'm getting a later start than I usually do, and just some things happened today in my personal life that kind of really drained the energy out of me. So, but I'm still gonna try and give a good session. It'll just be probably a little shorter than normal. So last we left off, Erolith, along with his newly found, I don't know if he'd call them friends, but newly found acquaintances, Brand and Dell. They rescued Dell and brought her to camp. Dell and Brand were working at a loggers camp that's set up by the local community to give like a steady wage and a way for prisoners of minor crimes to work off their sentences. Sorry, I took a little break. I had the fan going up overhead, and I think it's messing with the lighting a little bit. So hopefully that's not too distracting, but it should turn off soon. So he met all the people in the camp, Captain Olga, who leads it, and then like some different criminals and stuff. And they tasked him. He offered to be the guard to guard the camp because there's these kind of dangers in the woods. He's really familiar with the woods, and they accepted. And he's kind of he got the assignment of there's a bandit in the area who is kind of a threat to the camp, and so Erolith is gonna find the bandit's base and try and drive him out or kill him or whatever. It doesn't really matter to Erolith. Just get him out of there. That's his job. Here's my little artwork of Erolith. He's an elven fighter, almost level 2, but not quite. And he's really good at dying. So, okay. He just sets off in the woods. He grabs some supplies and sets off in the woods. And I want I'm going to roll a d4 to see how many encounters there are before he gets to, because he knows the kind of general location of this wild rogue and his lair, so he's going to, I'm going to roll a d4 to see how many encounters there are between now and when he finds the wild rogue's general before he gets there. That's 3. Man, d4s are hard to read, but I think that's a 3. Yeah. Oh. Whoops. So 3 encounters. I have Xanathar's Guide to Everything right here, and there's a big list of encounters in the back. Well, not the exact back. It's actually probably more like right in the middle. Yeah, kind of in the middle. So I'm going to go to Forest and roll some Forest encounters. Okay. Level 1 through 4 is the range that we want. So I'm going to 89 is the encounter. 89 is 1 quattle, because it's daytime. Okay. Sorry, I had an alarm go off. But I think we're still live, so I'm going to keep going. Quattle. Quattle is in the monster manual, page 43. This is challenge rating 4. Okay. It's lawful good, medium celestial, benevolent serpentine being. I'll show the art. That's a quattle. Their brilliantly colored wings and gentle manner. Okay. Were created as guardians and caretakers by a benevolent God, not worshipped since the dawn of time, which is forgotten now, but all but the quattles themselves. Most of the divine mandates given to these beings are long since fulfilled or failed. However, a number of quattles still watch over ancient power, await fulfillment of prophecy, or safeguard the heirs of creatures they once guided and protected. Regardless of a quattle's task, it prefers to remain hidden, revealing itself only as a last resort. Interesting, a quattle can't lie, but it can withhold information, answer questions vaguely, or allow others to jump to the wrong conclusion if so doing is necessary to protect something, to keep promises, or to hide the secret of its existence. A quattle can live for ages without sustenance, even surviving without air, but these creatures can die of disease or the passage of time. It senses its time is up to a century beforehand, but it has no insight into the manner of its demise. If a quattle has already accomplished what it set out to do, it accepts its fate. However, if its imminent death endangers the completion of its goal, it actively seeks out another quattle with which to produce offspring. The mating ritual of some quattles is beautiful and I'll have a dance. Okay. So if they stay hidden to accomplish these tasks, why the frick would Erolith run into one of these in the woods? Well, let's find out. Let's roll on some mythic tables. So actions. Yeah, I'm gonna roll on the action 1 table. Let's see if I can get a meaning out of this. 25. Okay. 25 is to create. Okay. And then action 2 is 79. Create protection. Okay. Okay, here's what came to me. Like I was just reading in the book, the quattles protect an area, and if they feel like their time is coming and they will try and find another quattle to mate with so that their offspring can continue the task. So I picture that Erolith, wow, that's crazy. A bug just landed right on my hand. Holy cow, I just killed it. Anyways, here's what I picture. Erolith and Chadwick, who is a monk from the logging cabin, who offered to accompany Erolith, are trudging through the woods. And they come upon a dying quattle. Maybe it's even been poisoned. I think I want to roll on the fate chart for that. We're at Chaos Factor 4. I'll give it, honestly, Grimthorn Force is pretty rough, so I'll give it a likely. That the quattle was poisoned and that's why it's dying. 54 is just barely a no. So it was not poisoned. It was just simply dying of old age. And so they're walking through the forest, pushing through the thick layers of ferns and bushes and weaving between the trees, maybe following a game trail that weaves in between these ferns and bushes and stuff. And they hear like a low, kind of like low roar or a whine, but that has like from a very bassy voice. And they go over to investigate, and they see this quaddle, this just huge, beautiful serpent creature with these super colorful wings. It's an iridescent blue, and there's like green and black speckles all along the scales, and the wings are orange and red feathers. So it's very, very vibrant. But even so, the scales, maybe they're, rather than like super vibrant, there's a lot of contrast, but it's faded. The feathers look rough and like kind of have that like ruffled feather look where the feathers are kind of out of place and not neatly aligned along the wings. And some of the scales are old and faded, and there's probably several scales that are maybe even missing. And this quaddle is laying kind of curled and just letting out this whine as it dies. Can quaddles speak? I believe they can. I think it said that they have a gentle manner of speaking. Yeah, they can do telepathy. As they walk by, Erolith and Chadwick see this, and the quaddle lifts its head and turns to them, and it has these piercing eyes. And in their minds, they hear the voice of the quaddle. And I imagine that the quaddle will like want to engage with them. It might say, "I've come to the end of my time, but you, creatures of this forest, have been my my duty for countless centuries. But the evil of this forest grows, and I grow dim and old and am soon to die. And let's see, I don't know if they can do this in the game, but I think this is cool. It can just like read kind of their thoughts, or maybe their vibes. And it knows that Erolith is pretty neutral. He's not necessarily good of heart. He's pretty much in it for the money. But I imagine Chadwick is very good at heart. And so the quaddle will say, it will kind of motion them over, and if they'll walk up very cautiously, and they'll see that there's like a baby quaddle, which is still this like, 6 foot long serpent with wings kind of curled up within like the big curl of the parent quaddle. It says, I have spawned this young, so that it can continue my task of protecting this forest as the evil grows. And I perceive in your heart that you care for those around you, care for this forest. I task you to protect my young until it can grow up and continue in my stead of protecting this forest. Chadwick would be very reverent. He would say, yes, it would be an honor. Erolith doesn't really want to do this necessarily, but he recognizes the reverence of the moment of this dying being, this very powerful quaddle serpent that's dying right in front of him. He recognizes that this is a moment where he shouldn't kind of I don't know about that, and so he doesn't say anything. But Chadwick kneels and says, yes, of course, we will take care of this young. We will protect it until it can grow strong and root out the evil of this forest. And the quaddle will say, I perceive that you will be true to your intentions. And at last, I can rest. And its body just shudders, and it goes limp. And there's just a weight in the air as both of them can feel that this is a really significant thing to watch the last moments of this creature's life, and to be tasked with this new job of protecting this serpent. Actually, I'm going to retcon something. It's not hatched yet. It's an egg. I think that will make it kind of easier for right now to keep track of that. And so they just have to watch it until it hatches. And then once it hatches, it can take care of itself. It's a magic serpent. So I'll add that to and I think that's the end of the scene. They'll pick up the egg and they'll just kind of look at each other. And Chadwick is like, wow, this is incredible. And Erolith is like, I don't know if I signed up for this, but so to the thread list, I'll say protect quaddle egg. Right. Yeah, so they'll have a quaddle egg now that they need to watch until it hatches. When that happens, we'll see. We'll find out. They'll continue on and make camp. As they walk, I imagine that Chad will want to talk a lot with Erolith, asking him. He's very jolly, so he'll like, well, what brings you to the forest? And Erolith will explain how this forest is my home. I've lived here since I was very young, decades I've lived here, and I know these woods like the back of my hand. Jack will say, wow, that's wonderful. It's great to have a guide like you. These woods truly are a beautiful place. And Erolith will nod and will say yes, but they've been growing more dangerous lately. And Chad will say, yes, more dangerous. The whole world grows more dangerous, but it's nothing we can't handle. So are you an adventurer or a guide or, and Erolith will he's pretty slow to trust. So he'll say, I'm just a man making his way, just trying to make his way in the universe. Except he doesn't say universe, but he'll say in the land, just trying to make his way in life. And Chadwick will say, I can tell that there's something more that motivates you than just going by. You wouldn't be risking all these dangerous things for nothing. What motivates you? Erolith will say, yeah, he's slow to trust, so I don't think he would say too much. He might just talk about, I'm not good at most things except for making my way through the woods, hunting and fighting. So that's how I have to make coin in this world. And I save coin for a better life, same as everyone else. And Chadwick will not push him too much, but he knows that there's more. Erolith would not want to talk about Kenna or anything like that at this point. Maybe when Chadwick gains his trust more, but right now it's not there yet. And they will make camp. I'll roll a survival check for them to make a good camp. A 6. That sucks. Erolith knows he's super good. I'll give him advantage. 3. So the camp they make is not very good. They just kind of have to plop down and sleep on top of their bedrolls, basically. So won't be a super restful night's sleep, but Erolith, he's an elf. He just needs to be in his trance for a few hours, so he's okay. And they'll rest for the night. Yeah, and that's I think I'll try and do the next day, the next encounter. And that's probably where we'll just do the 2 encounters for today. So, back to Xanathar's guide on the forest encounters. 71. One d4 dire wolves or 1 giant boar. Probably I'd like to do 1 giant boar. Let me see, is there a significant difference in difficulty here? Let's see. A giant boar is challenge rating 2, whereas a dire wolf is challenge rating 1, but there would be D4 of them. Yeah, and with action economy, I don't think I want to risk that. So there's 1 giant boar that shows up. They wake up and they're like, they make their way, and they hear a snorting in the brush of this giant boar. Erolith knows that these giant boars are really dangerous, and so he is gonna grab Chadwick and try and hide. I imagine the boars aren't particularly stealthy, and it's not trying to move stealthy, and so they would hear it coming from a while away. So Erolith would just try and hide from the boar. So first with Erolith. Oh, nice! That's a nat 20. Let's go. And then Chadwick. Oh, 12. I'll give him, for now I'll give him acolyte stats. So a 12 plus. Plus nothing. Okay. The giant boar's passive perception is 8. So, kind of dim-witted. Yeah, I don't know that Erolith really wants to get into a fight with this thing right now. So he won't. So they see this big boar, and they Erolith will dive to the ground, and he knows exactly how to move. And Chadwick does his best. Bandits would probably be able to notice it, but this boar doesn't give a crap. It's not really on the lookout for predators or anything. It's a giant boar, and so it'll just kind of push its way through the brush, and move on past without interacting with them. And Erolith will just kind of breathe a sigh of relief. He'll probably want to take out that giant boar later, but right now he's in no position to do such a thing. And so they'll just continue on their way, having successfully avoided this giant boar that, just from the peaks that they got at, it's probably full of scars and matted fur and just stinks, but trumps around like it's the boss, and just trumps off, and they wait until it's gone, long gone. That was all faster than I thought it would. So I'm gonna roll the next encounter. And then maybe we won't even have time to resolve it. Maybe we'll start out the next session with resolving it, but we'll see. 49. The last encounter is a brown bear. Wonderful. The brown bear, I'd rather than just having a brown bear nearby, I want it to be doing something. So I'm going to roll on the mythic table for what the brown bear is doing. It is punishing. Whoa. What is it punishing? Punishing pain. The brown bear is punishing pain. Okay, I imagine that a zealous young hunter saw the brown bear, and took a shot at it with an arrow. But it didn't get a very good hit. It's just, hit it in the thigh or something. And so the brown bear is pissed and is mauling this guy. So they see this guy getting mauled by a brown bear. And Chadwick is like, he's being mauled. We need to help him. And everything's like, I don't know. That's seems like a lost cause to me. And Chadwick will be like, come on. And I imagine he's got a stick, a staff or something, and Chadwick will just run full blazes into this fight with the brown bear. And Erolith will sigh and pull out his bow and take a shot. And And I think that's where we'll end our session. That's about 30 minutes, and that's as much as I really want to do right now, given how it's kind of late. I think what I will do is, this is the 5th session, and Erolith is still level 1. I was only giving him XP for combat, but if we keep having these scenes like the giant boar where he like successfully avoids it and accomplishes what he wants to, then I don't imagine he'll be gaining XP very fast. So I think I'm going to put him to level 2. I think that 5 sessions is enough where he should be at level 2. So I'm going to level him up between now and next session. So he'll start this fight at level 2. Yeah, and we'll pick up right with this brown bear encounter. So, thanks so much for watching. I hope it was enjoyable to have Erolith go through the forest and have a couple scenes. It's really cool that he met this dying quaddle and was, him and Chad were given this egg to protect. So that's a cool story thread that we'll see where it goes, where it takes us, and what comes of that. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, and until next time, ciao.